What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another review. And today we're getting back into The Walking Dead World Beyond. This is episode 6, complete spoilers. So please, if you haven't seen the episode, come back to this video after you have. So this is complete spoilers, and we're starting right off with the after the credit scene here. Now there's a lot to really encompass here. Now the last time we got the after the credit scene, we got something we've been trying to figure out for a long time in the Walking Dead universe. And what are A's and what are B's? We know that A's refer to people who have recently been bitten, A almost like for after, and then B are for people who haven't been bitten in the time they've been kidnapped. So like B for before. So now with this one, we're taking a step back, starting off with the picture of the 4 doctors, and at the time now, Dr. Belshaw is completely invading Dr. Bennett's desk, looking through his personal notes about with his daughters, looking at his scientific analysis, and then she gets a call, and she gets a call from Elizabeth Kubak, the Lieutenant Colonel of CRM, and she wants to know, has she finished working on something? And whatever that is, but Dr. Belshaw ensures that by the time they arrive, by the time Dr. Bennett arrives and the security detail, that one, they wouldn't be of any concern or any problems, and that it will be handled. So I'm kind of worrying what that is. And then we know that she's in the room where she's observing empties who have been at some point probably experimented on or something. So there's a lot to really wonder what goes on beyond that. But I will say the one thing about this too is that Dr. Belshaw seems to be a little bit sympathetic, empathetic here after reading the note from the daughters and looking at the picture. And obviously they were close at some point, and we already seen that one of the doctors have already been worked on or been experimented on. So considering that he may be next, which you would think, and considering that he has a family and everything, that I think that her woman's mother intuition may be possibly coming in fact here, and she's just seeming a little bit reserved. Like there was a little bit of a worry in her face, so I'm definitely curious to know where that's going to go. But anyway, this episode 6, is Shadow Puppets. Now, there's so much I want to talk about here. First thing is that what can I say about Iris? Iris is really, it's like she's a good person, but like she is completely problematic in this society, in this world that she's living in. Now, starting off with her, she literally narrated the beginning of this episode, pretty much putting into perspective what's happening in the world, pretty much into perspective of how the world has changed, but yet she acts as if it didn't. Because like when you think about all the things she was doing, like, again, sure, she has a good heart, but like she just and which is probably not good for the state of the world, but like she's just really is acting as if like the world around her is not filled with danger. I mean, number one, her trying to hold the weapon and the flashlight, she completely couldn't do it. Number two, running towards the gunshots and then running on the roof and then again getting herself almost killed and almost getting everybody else in trouble. Like she just continues to just never surprise me about just the moves and rationality that she makes each and every episode. So I just don't know what to say about her. Like it just never surprises me. It's always like every episode is like, oh boy, what is Iris going to do stupid now? So, but going back into this episode now, the big question leaving off from last episode was, who was this mystery guy that ran up on them? Well, it's not Barker, who I thought was the guy from CRM that wasn't completely in agreements with Elizabeth on episode 3, but it's actually Percy, who's coming from this small, well, everything he pretty much said was a lie, but he said he came from Andersonville or whatever, and he wanted to get his truck back or his stuff back, which ultimately meant his truck and some other stuff. But nonetheless, played by Ted Sutherland, and also, fun fact, him, so Ted and the actor who plays Barker, Al Calderon, They both were in episodes of Law and Order SVU. So a little cool connection about my my mistaken identity of this character. I mean, again, it could have been really interesting if it was Barker, but in fact, this is still pretty interesting as well too. Not so much Percy, but his uncle, which we'll talk about a little bit. But like, yeah, dude, we knew something was up with him. He talking about he out here with no supplies, no food or anything. Like, yeah, much like Hope. I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that. And obviously Hope is just somebody who's just naive, and she's going to get down to the bottom of it. And she interrogated him the way he needed to be interrogated to get down to the truth. But nonetheless, the plan, I mean, obviously the premise of this episode was if they help this guy get his truck back, then that would be their means of getting transportation to New York, because he came from Florida to Arkansas. So yeah, and I Hope was like, yeah, you definitely didn't do that by foot within a season. So like, that's not true. And matter of fact, kind of think about it, already a month has already passed with them being out on the road. I had no clue. I mean, yeah, it's only been 6 episodes here, but like, I didn't even realize already a month had went by. But yeah, they're doing all this, and while Hope is out doing what she's doing, they're just getting ready to just go on a whole other adventure without having one of their strongest team members with them that could truly be helpful in anything, especially when it comes to the idea of like trusting somebody else and potentially getting yourself into another trap. So yeah, but as we can expect for a lot more episodes to come is the awkward moments between Elton and Hope. Now, first of all, Elton being named after Elton John, I do agree with Hope here. That is pretty cool. But you know, it's cool because Elton's such a good character. He's such a good kid, and the book is his sole purpose, and it's the way how he gets to know his mom, and he plans to pass it on once he completes it so that people can get to know her, which I think is really, really cool. But let's talk about Hope now. Talk about I'm gonna help you finish it, and at this point now, it's just so shady because we know it's eating her conscience up alive. Every time she looks at the picture, she's just crumbling, and we just keep getting these awkward interactions between the two of them. Poor innocent Elton just has no clue what is happening. And yeah, eventually it's going to happen. But like, for us, for the viewers, we're just going to keep getting these awkward moments between the two of them. Keep running it. Keep trying to have this forced conversation that's just really not ready to be had yet. So let's talk about Silas really quick. So Silas clearly doesn't like Percy, but more importantly, it's because he doesn't like anybody getting next to Iris. We know that is going to be something to come a lot more. Yes, Iris is, like I said, the soft spot for him, the moral compass for him, whatever it may be. But I think it might be a little bit more to that. I think he might legit have feelings and attraction to her, and he's just awkward and doesn't know how to really relay it to her. But going back to this, to the uncle. So uncle, let me make sure I get his name right. So Percy. Oh, so number one, when Percy ran off the roof and left Iris, I definitely was like, well, that's what she get. And he definitely bamboozled her. And then Uncle Delmato, Uncle Tony Delmato, with the fake gunshot and everything. Like, I was literally like, wow, they literally got, but they came back because they're men of their word and they got integrity, and a deal's a deal. So they respected that, and they also realized that empties were coming towards their way, so they came and saved them. But while Uncle Tony is a Vegas sideshow act, he's very intriguing as a character because he is smart and he does have a plan. He may be a slick talker. He's an entertainer, obviously, as he made everyone tear up from his puppet show. But he does see the world around him. He's pretty much aware of the CRM and their helicopters, the refueling station, which him and Felix made a deal about. They need to get fuel in order to go. They're going to get on a ride, but they need fuel, and they're going to have to go to this station and kind of stay. Like you said, they got a plan, but just in case the plan or something falls through, they need Felix with his coat in order to kind of massage it out. Whatever they think is going to happen is not going to happen. So that's going to be It's going to be really interesting next episode. I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. But the big thing about it is that, you know, now they got it. First, they got to get Huck before they go anywhere. But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see now that they're breaking in 2 more people into their journey. Yes, it may benefit them as far as the commute, but now you got 2 other people who you don't really know their characteristics, and obviously they're tricksters, and they do whatever they do whatever to get what they need, as they said. So, and they're very good characters, so they're gonna be entertaining for us. But like as the group, I don't know how that's gonna eventually work out for them, as they refer to the empties as has-beens. And then, you know, so empties now have 3 different names now: walkers, has-beens, and empties. So at this rate now, who knows what the next name is going to come. But I am very, very curious to see what's going to happen next episode. I mean, we can only imagine now that at some point we're going to start getting more scenes from after the credit scene, being at the CR location, and then when Dr. Leo Bennett eventually shows, and everything with that, and what's kind of going on with the testing. Will he be tested on all that? And then the group, obviously, as they make their way to New York, but they got to get gas first. They got to get Huck first. Hopefully we get more about Huck's military background, maybe a little bit more about Felix's background. So we still got a little bit more ironing out to go, along with bringing on newcomers Percy and Uncle Tony, who are just 2 characters in their own. But it looks like, again, Percy's very fond of Hope. I mean, of Iris, and Iris could be fond of him, and Silas clearly is jealous. And we'll just see Huck not trust nobody. So that's that. But everybody, definitely let me know in the comments what you think about this episode. Crazy that after the credit scene, right? Yeah, definitely let me know what you think about that. And as always, folks, I'll see you back next week for episode 7. Thank you for watching.
Cudlitz.